Consequences to the votes we take in our governments and in our elections. And you have to make sure that you're really thinking carefully about who you vote for next times. There are consequences to the votes we take in our governments and in our elections. Okay, one more question from this section. How about someone close? You, sir, with the mustache.
I spent the past 25 years working in the automotive field on products to help reduce vehicle emissions. Alternative fuel sources such as propane and natural gas, hybrid vehicles, a little bit of work with hydrogen vehicles, and more recently, other products for energy conservation. Retired now. Now I want to get out, I want to see Canada. As an outdoorsman, I have a real concern for the environment. I camp, I hike, I go snowmobiling. I like to fish. I like to hunt. Yep, I like to hunt. I'm a firearms owner, just like millions of other Canadians. I'm not a gangbanger shooting up the streets. I am a legal firearms owner that participates in legal shooting sports and competitions, including sports involving handguns and your so-called scary firearms. Organizations like the Ontario Federation of Anglers and Hunters do more for conservation and environmental concerns than any government agencies. Turkeys were extinct in Ontario until the Ontario Federation, members supported, brought in breeding stock and returned wild turkeys to Canada, to Ontario. And now there is turkeys all over the place. Organizations like Ducks Unlimited have rehabilitated wetlands to support the migratory birds that pass through Ontario. Ontario enthusiasts have cleaned up waterways to improve our sport fisheries. Now, while the sports people of Ontario are putting all this effort into the environment, the government has introduced a carbon tax as a solution for cleaning up the environment. A tax that applies to every single product we buy. Our food, our clothing, building supplies, even our necessary medical supplies. There's not a single product that we use that does not involve transportation at some point. Penalties in the form of a carbon tax are applied to our manufacturing sector in an effort to clean up our environment. Penalties that drive out manufacturing from Canada. Penalties that drive jobs away from Canada. Penalties that apply to every single Canadian. And where do these manufacturing jobs go? They go to countries like China. China with no environmental restrictions. So we clean up Canada, a country that is already one of the cleanest, driving the manufacturing jobs out of Canada into China that will continue to pollute. Well, guess what? The environment isn't just Canada. There is no wall that blocks the pollution that's coming from places like China where you're driving all of our jobs with your carbon tax. Why don't we try something a little different? Ever heard of the carrot and the stick? Offer a carrot, incentives to companies to clean up their act. We already do a very good job on it, but offer some sort of incentive instead of a penalty. Instead of using the stick to beat companies out of this country, why not offer incentives? Offer some incentives, and maybe Loblaws can buy refrigeration units made in Canada instead of made in China.
Okay. Sorry, sir, can you get